Sorry. So let's start. So we are here to talk about the industry forum. We have 4 famous companies here today with us. Let me start with SLT. We have Ms. Dinusha Rajapaksha here. So to give a few brief things about her, she started her journey at SLT in year 2008. She's very committed and she has been working with the business process management team. She has been collaborating to overcome the technical challenges in the telco industry that are emerging. So I would like to call upon Ms. Dinusha to share her thoughts.
Good afternoon. So, hope you enjoy your lunch. After a heavy lunch, you must be feeling sleepy. So, do you watch films? Hope all of you are watching films. And are you a fan of Steven Spielberg's films? I still remember that when I was a kid, watching that Jurassic Park for the first time. So the thrilling experience which I got. So it was the first time that in a major film industry that used that computer generated images. So which gives a real experience. So would you like to go back to that Jurassic Age that with dinosaurs to get that thrilling experience? Yeah, you can go with me. So I will tell you how to go. So if you have watched this the Ready Player One film directed by same person, Steven Spielberg, then you know what I am talking about. It is the metaverse. So everybody these days talk about metaverse, no? So you heard. So the metaverse terminology first time captured this universal headlines in 2021 after Facebook renamed itself as Meta. So they stated that the reason behind their name change is that their next frontier is metaverse. So not only Facebook, other technology giants also working on metaverse. So Microsoft had done a huge investment. They have invested around 70 billion US dollars to acquire gaming platform Activision Blizzard. It was the biggest industry investment they had in the history of gaming industry. So they also stated that their investment is purely because of building the building blocks to enable metaverse. And also Google has started recently a metaverse project. And Apple, of course, they are working for device related, how this AR, VR technologies can be used in metaverse, those device related experiments they are doing. So all these technology giants are moving and investing to realize this metaverse. So actually what metaverse is, it is a 3D version of internet. So it gives you a real immersive experience. So it may be beyond the real experience. It can go beyond the real world experience. So it is a digital world, exists parallel to our physical world. So we can live our second life in that digital world in future. So with this metaverse, people tells that now we are accessing the internet, but in future we live within the internet. So many elements of the metaverse was there over a couple of decades back. With the birth of internet, actually metaverse was born. So the concepts and the elements and that major concepts and the experience was there in major films and fictions. So as I told you that Ready Player One, it was a film that in the film they talk about the metaverse concepts. It was actually written in 2011. Now it was based on a novel written in 2011, and the metaverse terminology, that term coined in again a novel released in 1992 called Snow Crash, written by Neil Stephenson. So and also there was a online social platform called Second Life. It was built early 2000. There you can have a digital representation to interact. It's kind of a social media platform, but you can have a digital representation there to interact with each other. And also you can buy properties to enrich your virtual life there. And also Roblox was a game, and specifically this video game, many elements of metaverse can be found. So if we take Fortnite, the players spend hundreds of hours with their avatar to interact with the other players, to fighting and everything. And also they acquire currencies to get costumes to their avatars. So, and also with the invention of Web 3.0 technologies, especially this blockchain, cryptocurrencies, and NFTs, which are the foundation of this metaverse. And also, more importantly, to give the immersive experience, the Oculus headsets and other VR headsets also found a few decades and a couple of years back. And major elements of the critical pieces of mass of working pieces came together after these technology giants put the interest and putting the major investments. So so if I talk in detail about what metaverse is, as I told you, it is a digital world, a virtual space where users will have an individual presence, and it will be continual and consistent, same as in real life. The events will happen, and it will have a fully function economy. People can buy, sell, and even resell or invest, and also using digital currencies. And also it is a UGC platform where users can generate the content like our social media platforms. So other than that, using AR and VR technologies, it will give an immersive experience, but it is not a must, but it is a way of enhancing your experience in metaverse. So metaverse is not a technology. It is a platform where all technologies come together. So if we delayer the metaverse, there are a couple of layers we can identify. So there are multiple players in the industry, technology industry, working to realize this metaverse vision. So some are working on the content layer to give a virtual experience application contents, and some are building these metaverse platforms. And like us, that communication service providers, we are working on the infrastructure, and other telco technology partners, they work out on the devices and accessories, and also the enablers, that payment gateways, that how monetizations happen, the identity management, security, privacy, and the governance. So hundreds of companies are working to realize this metaverse vision into a reality. So it is an ecosystem. So not an individual company bring this vision into a reality. So why this all companies are putting interest on metaverse? So definitely metaverse will revolutionize all the industries. It is applicable for any industry and any function. So it expects that this metaverse opportunity will reach to 5 trillion by 2030. So the investment has doubled from 2021 to 2022. So this, if we take the use cases, it goes across every industry: healthcare, education, entertainment, and gaming, and also travel and tourism, and even real estate and retail business as well. So definitely, to experience the metaverse, to run this metaverse application, definitely we need to have an infrastructure layer. So where most of the communication service providers, you need the connectivity to experience this metaverse. But over past 20 years, being as a connectivity provider, our revenue has grown only 3%. But if we take our technology giants, their revenue grown maybe 100% or maybe over that. So as a communication service provider, we are also thinking how we can find opportunities within this metaverse, going beyond providing this connectivity layer, but leveraging our core competencies, core strengths, such as we have a very good customer base, we have customer data, we have good partnerships. So we have more than that, more importantly, we have the trust with our customers. So leveraging all these strengths, how as a connectivity provider, we can use our core competencies and strengths, how we can leverage this metaverse opportunities we are working on. So there are different aspects. I'm not going in detail. So there is a industry forum where communication service providers, our technology partners, vendors come together. That is TM Forum. They also understand that opportunity for the industry to identify opportunities and identify opportunities for growth. So actually, if I talk about TM Forum, it has around 900 member companies around the globe. So what is their main objective is to collaborate with each other and find innovative solutions to challenges we face in our industry. So in 2021, they started the first ever Metaverse, and that first ever Open Innovation Catalyst project. They have Catalyst projects doing collaboratively together with other companies, and they started the project. So to identify opportunities in Metaverse. So SLT Mobitel also join in that project together with Saudi Telecom, China Telecom, and we join in hand with our technology partners, Asia Info, IDC, and Whale Cloud. So it was a phase-wise project. So initial phase, we focused on building the building blocks to enable Metaverse. So in first project, in phase 1, we were focusing on building the digital identity and the data ownership, and building a human-like intelligent avatar, kind of a digital assistant for the customer. So we used basically that Web 3.0 technologies to enable this objective. So in the phase 2, we focused more on enhancing the experience of both customer and employee. We found out some innovative use scenarios in Metaverse. So in first use case, we focused on building a Metaverse business hall where customer can interact, explore our product and services. It is a dynamically generated storefront for customer to interact, and also there is a digital assistant to support the customer. So in the second use case, we actually build a data center maintenance use case. So there we focused on how we can enhance the operational efficiency using these new technologies. We have built a Metaverse-enabled data center, which gives AR. Using AR, we have built a layer to support on-site personnel, how remote expert can support our internal IDC personnel for troubleshooting. It gives us that layer of information of the equipments, their status, and it also provided the way of collaborating that they can interact, and using AR technologies that he can get the information about the devices and statuses, and he can collaborate with remote assistants that and get experts help. So these catalyst projects, usually in TM Forum, they are having annual events in regional as well as world forums. So the independent judges, they evaluate our projects, and they are evaluating across a couple of areas. So last time in the digital transformation Asian event held in Bangkok, so our phase 2 of this Metaverse project was able to won the Best Innovation and Future Tech Award. So and this World Series is happening in September. So there we are focusing on basically as a telco, how we can cost effectively partner with our suppliers and vendors, and how we can monetize this Metaverse ecosystem. That is our main challenge during that World Series. So we are basically building an open ecosystem where we can enable metaverse enabled platform where we can co-create the value for all the partners of this ecosystem. So basically what the use case we have chosen is a concert event, that concert owner, how we can enable metaverse event that is applicable not only for concert event, actually any event such as a conference or maybe a educational fair or maybe any kind of a sports event, kind of that, any event, this platform can be generalized, and this can be even replicable for any industry as well. That is our challenge. Since this is an ongoing project, I can't share much details. So that is what industry is working, and the telco industry is working towards this metaverse. So metaverse is inevitable that with the metaverse, the industry will be revolutionized. So now itself, every industry is working on their how to monetize what are the opportunities in metaverse, which will ensure their future cash flows, future growth, and future opportunities. So thank you very much for giving this opportunity. Thank you, Andrea.
Thank you very much, Ms. Dinusha, for the valuable information you gave us. So next we have Mr. Jayashankar. In this industry for the last 16 years. He has his bachelor's in engineering from the University of Peradeniya and postgraduate diploma from University of Mortua. So I would like to call upon Mr. Jayashankar to share his words.
Thanks, Adrian. So good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I will be presenting you the next generation national research and education networks. So how we approach it and what are the advancements in technology. So let me take you through. Firstly, let's look at the requirements and trends in the industry. Of course, many of you already know, but network connectivity service, connection service is a basic functionality in a education and research network, as well as any other network, of course. You want to connect to your universities, you want to connect to your research institutes, you want to connect and then get data and then facilitate it. So this connectivity is a major function. And then secondly, there is concerns on security. Now there's a lot of things going on with the security, especially with the cloud movements. So there are concerns in the research community as well, whether your data is secured. So your connectivity, your data connectivity or the network should be a secured one. Of course, handling your applications while handling your critical applications. And then thirdly, of course, scientific research collaboration. You should be able to connect to your peers anywhere in the world, anytime. So you should be able to process your data. Of course, you should be able to test your network as well. If it is related to your research work, you should be able to use your network as a test bed, and then provide that research information to the other users. So these are the three concerns, and then let's look into the requirements of a national research and education network. As our colleagues from SLT Mobitel well know, that there is a huge surge in bandwidth usage after the COVID, because everybody is going online, and there's a huge bandwidth requirement from the users. So around the world, it is estimated that about 30% of the bandwidth requirement is increasing 30% by 30% each year. So many networks, educational networks, research networks are going from 100G interfaces, 100 Gbps throughputs to 400 Gbps throughputs. So there is a increase in bandwidth. It is needed because the data sets are getting larger. The data sets which you are processing, it may be video analytics, or maybe large data sets from a mobile operator or a operator like SLT or Mobitel. So there are a lot of user cases which needed a lot of bandwidth. So bandwidth increase is a requirement, high bandwidth, and then the high reliability. Of course, reliability wise, it doesn't matter whether it's a daytime or a nighttime. You should be able to use your network. You should be able to access your networks. Availability should be there. You should be able to connect to your peers without any issue, without any hassle during your research work. So high reliability is another factor. And then, of course, simplified network deployment. Now, usually a network like this, a research and education network, it has two tiers. One is the optical layer network, which is carrying traffic at the underlay, and then your IP network, which is running on top of that. So this network deployment should be very easy for the network managers as well as network users. So simplified network deployment is a key factor. At the northbound interfaces, and then it should also have the automation, like things like software defined networking, which facilitate the users in many ways in their requirement phases. So requirement wise, high bandwidth, high reliability, simplified network deployment, and then of course open network is are the requirements in a solution like this. So let's look at what Huawei offers in this scenario. So as I mentioned, there are two layer network, optical layer, and then the IP layer. So this is the characteristic of this kind of a network. And then on top of that, Huawei has the network engine. We call it the brain of our network, iMaster NCE, Network Converged Engine. So iMaster NCE controls your network. It will be the controlling platform for your unified network. So it can control IP network as well as your optical network elements at once. And then it will provide to the upper layers, to the northbound interfaces for the interconnectivity. APIs will be provided to the upper layers. And then on top of this network, you will run your high performance computing, maybe your file sharing, maybe your research data, IaaS access, cloud access, things like that. So key characteristics will be the ultra broadband network connectivity. As I mentioned, we provide 400 GB throughputs to the users because our equipment are capable of 400 GB. Now all networks are migrating from 100 GB to 400 GB because higher throughputs are needed. And then simplified network, your SLAs should be guaranteed what you require from your network. So segment routing, we propose in IPv6, SRv6 segment routing to guarantee your SLA. And then, of course, your network should be intelligent. That means the network should be able to collect data from your network elements and then provide you with predictive maintenance. If there is a problem with the network, if there is an optimization which should be done in the network, it should proactively tell you what should be done. So intelligent, your network should be intelligent in that case. And then, of course, secure and reliable, as I mentioned earlier also, it should not be breached. Others should not breach your network, as well as reliability should be there. You should be able to access it at any time. So this is what Huawei propose. And coming to the real network implementation, there will be optical layer, which is handling the that means the latter layer of your network, and then on top of that, the IP multi-services are running. So we propose our optics trans in the optical layer, because this can provide bandwidth according to wavelength. That means wavelength wise, you can slice your network according to your wavelengths. And then we can guarantee that if you do a network, if you design a network like this, for the next 10 years, you will not be able to, you do not want to invest, because the network is capable of handling 10 years worth of traffic, 10 years ahead of traffic. And then and the upper layer, we propose 400G interfaces, because that is what reduce your fiber consumption. Because when you are having 100G interfaces, you want to bundle it together and then provide a 400G. But if you are using 400G single interface, your fiber consumption will also reduce. So, and then with this synergy, IP and optical network synergy, as I mentioned, we are using a single engine to manage all these elements, the IP network, your optical network, both. So when there are two networks which are operating, optical network and IP network separately, there can be issues like operation and maintenance issues, because it is siloed operation and maintenance, and then some high OPEX, because there you need to manage two systems, and then low efficiency as well. But as I mentioned, we are managing this in a single engine, your optical network, your IP network, end-to-end, a single architecture. So the reliability wise and the efficiency wise, it will be better. And of course, this is the technology which I mentioned, optical slicing. That means wavelength wise, you can slice your network. So for example, let's say you have a department or you have a ministry which is related to your research work, and we can have an optical slicing for that ministry or for that department separately. So wavelength isolated, security wise, this is better solution, because it's a wavelength isolated slicing for your research department. And then on top of that, we can have time division multiplexing in the wavelengths. Same wavelength, we can have time division multiplexing, facilitating your different services. Let's say your office traffic, or maybe your video traffic, your video conferencing traffic, that can be facilitated using the time slots, time division multiplexing. So security wise, this is a better solution, as well as it will offer you higher bandwidth and higher different services in your network. So this is the next generation network we propose. And then of course, to achieve your SLAs, your service levels, we propose migration from IPv6 to SRv6 segment routing. You can segment your network, and segment wise, you can handle your network, and then your latency and your bandwidth can be monitored separately, and then steer your traffic accordingly. And this will help you to achieve higher SLA levels in your network. And then the monitoring. unified monitoring, this is what concerns most of the managers, network managers, how your network can be managed. As I mentioned, iMaster NC is a single engine. It's a manager, it's an analyzer, it's a controller. It will manage your routers, it will manage your optical network, it will manage your bandwidth. So it can proactively provide you intelligent operation and maintenance suggestions to you. And then service automation can be done. So no need to have a lot of technical people to manage your network. It will service automation will help you to manage your network separately without any issue actually. So for example, service provisioning can be done within minutes. And then on-demand bandwidth adjustment. Let's say one researcher wants a higher bandwidth for his dataset access ongoing, I mean on demand. So this kind of on-demand bandwidth access can be provided using this solution. And of course, automatic traffic optimization, and then optimizing and traffic prediction for your network growth. How much network growth will be there, how much bandwidth you have to increase in the future. This kind of analytics can be provided through a network like this, using a single engine as your manager. And then of course, hop by hop KPI measurements. And then because this engine collects data through telemetry from your routers or from your network elements, and then provide you with the predictive analytics as well as operation and maintenance KPI measurements for you to understand your network better and make it better in future. And then lastly, automated switched optical network, we call it ASON. ASON can be used with intelligence, because most of the elements now are built with edge intelligence and cloud intelligence as well. The device itself has AI engines running on it. So there will be optimizations done in the edge level. So ASON is a better solution than the TDM legacy networks, optical networks. When it comes to ASON, you can have large elastic networks. Your network can be seamlessly upgraded with the ASON technology. So this is the solution which we propose. And then on top of that, we incorporate the security aspects into the network, because DDoS attacks and then phishing attacks from others, these kind of security concerns has to be addressed in your network. So we propose firewalling with higher throughputs and higher bandwidth adjustments, so that your network will be controlled and security will be controlled simultaneously, and intelligent detection and intelligent handling of your traffic will be achieved. So that is the entire solution from Huawei. And then just to give you an understanding, this is a use case from Brazil. Brazil is a large country with a lot of more than 1,000 education and research institutes connected. They are using a 100G Gbps network, and it is like 250 kilometers, more than 250 kilometers apart, each research center. So we have provided a solution with our optical and IP network connecting together, and this has helped Brazil to do the digital transformation better with their education network, has a reliable network in the country. So thank you very much. That is from me. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dashankar, for the valuable information. So next in the agenda, we have Mr. Satish Yajar. To give an introduction about him, he's the head of enterprise IP business development for APAC region, Nokia, and responsible for business development solutions and enterprises. He has more than 25 years of experience in the industry. So I would like to call upon Mr. Satish to share his words.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, so my name is Satish, and going to talk about Nokia solutions. So I think most of you have heard Nokia name, right? But I think when someone talks about Nokia, I think the first thing comes in mind is the mobile phone, right? And sometimes you think what Nokia is doing in this, but Nokia is not anymore a mobile phone. Nokia is a very big player on, of course, on the mobile infrastructure plus on the networking side. Okay, and we are very strong in this area, and especially in a lot of focus on NRAN as well. So I'm going to talk about what we do in this space. So who are we? In fact, we let me go to the next slide, which probably give you a very good idea what Nokia does. So Nokia Bell Labs, right? So the Bell Labs, I think all of you know, it comes from the US, from AT&T days. And it was Alcatel acquired Alcatel-Lucent, and the Bell Labs came, and then the Alcatel-Lucent acquired Nokia, and that is how the Bell Labs Nokia came together. So we have more than 20,000 plus patents, 9 Nobel Prize, 7 Emmy Awards, Stunning Awards, Grammy and Oscar, you name it, and Bell Labs, Nokia Bell Labs have all those things, right? So a lot of innovation. I'm not going to go into detail, but transistor, satellite, laser, fiber, you just name it, and then somewhere you will find Bell Labs contributing on all these. Right? Okay, so now come back to the research and education network. So Nokia, in fact, deals in both segment. We are like very big in the service provider market, telecom service provider market. So you just name any service provider in the world, and then they'll be using Nokia equipment, whether it's mobile networks, whether it's optical networks or the IP networks, right? But on the research and education, this is more on the optical and the IP side where we deal in. And so I think I don't have to talk on in this detail, the previous speaker, and then of course the SLT, they talk about what is going on in this area. But I think the network is getting complex day by day. I think all of us, we know, right? Different kind of services, different kind of interface, different kind of she was talking about metaverse, a lot of different things coming in, and then it's getting more complex day by day, right? Then scale, I think this is very important, right? The network bandwidth is increasing. Again, somebody says 30%, 40%, 50%, but it's increasing year on year. Is a good amount of bandwidth is increasing. And how to deal with that, I think is a big challenge for everyone, including the RAN networks. Then automation, this is very important. You have multiple layers in the network, and how you deal with those, right? How do you automate your network process, and the different kind of troubleshooting, or the proactive action which you want to take. So some of those things you want to do really, the proactive monitoring using automation tools rather than reactive approach. And then security. security is very, very important, right? Especially these days, the distributed denial of service, the DDoS attacks, the encryption, and the DDoS, like you have to do at the line rate, right? Because these flows these days, like it's a terabit kind of flows, and how to deal with those DDoS attack is a big challenge for research and education network. And then encryption, especially these days, people are talking about like quantum safe encryption. So some of these new things coming in, and then of course the research and education network has to look at those things, how to incorporate some of these things in their network when they design their network. Right? So how we solve this in from the Nokia side, we have the solution, but some of these things, this is on our product line, so I'm not going to go into detail, just high level. The routing challenges, multiple things like EVPN, the segment routing, SRv6, all those new technology which are there, which can be used by end-to-end networks. Then optical side, we have coherent optical transport, using lambdas, and then you can, the carry terabit of traffic on single lambdas, using some of the latest technology on our platform. Then quantum safe, I talked about the DDoS, these some of the challenges, but these can be like, there are solutions which can be deployed using Nokia platform. Okay. And of course, the important, the IP optical coordination. So different layer, the IP, generally what happens, the optical layer, there is a different team who manages the optical side. There's a different team for IP side. And especially in your case, in fact, I was in another session, the routing and switching is owned by you guys, and the optical sometime is your own, or maybe it's leased, or maybe it's provided by the telecom service provider. So how do you manage these, right? This is quite challenging sometime, right? So you have some kind of tool which can manage both the layers, right? And just to ensure that your network is available, highly available, right? So some of those coordination, like, use shared risk link groups and all those. So, whatever you're doing on the optical layer, you have to ensure, or at least the tool has to ensure that those things are understood by the IP layer, so that the cross layer coordination can be done seamlessly. So this is the high performance, the end-to-end research blueprint from the Nokia side. We propose to our customers. You have, in fact, I talked earlier, the IP routing in the optical transport layer. Then we have the, the multi-layer security. This is on the local LAN, right? Because when you connect on your research network, there are different pieces, right? You have LAN network, you have your data center fabric, you have your campus network, you have your wide area network, and you have to ensure all these things, whether it's a security or, the coordination of IP and optical networks, or the automations. These are done, the end-to-end on these different entity which are connected in your network. Okay, so let me just give you a brief kind of snapshot what we do on the optical side, right? So optical, we are big, very big. So more than 500,000, the 100 gig equivalent coherent ports supplied all over, all over globe. And this is like different service providers, or the enterprise customers, or the different verticals, the government or defense, right? And you see the names, the big names on the service provider, but all these days, like I said, we are getting into the research and education network as well. And I'm going to talk about some of the customer references which we have on the entrance side. Okay. Because we are pushing the limit of the optical day by day. So the latest chipset on the optic side, PSA6, we can use, this is of course, whether it's your metro network, regional network, or long haul network, or ultra long haul network, it carries starting from 1.2 terabit per the lambda. It goes all the way, to 1 terabit for 800 kilometers, 800 gigs for more than 2000 kilometers, right? So this is like coherent solution. So this is one of the trial we just did with one of our customers, Now, just going forward to the IP side. So IP side, what we do on the IP side, right? So we are there more than 17 years in the IP network side, and more than 1,600 customers globally, and then again all these service providers, telecom service provider, then government or the enterprise customer, web scale customers. Most of them, they are using our IP routing gear. Right? So our journey started, the IP side. Like I said, this comes from the Alcatel-Lucent and the Alcatel and the Thymetra networks days. So there was a company back in 2000, which Alcatel acquired, Thymetra. It was a Silicon Valley-based company, and came out with a new concept, service routing concept at the time. Like you can carry all kind of services on the IP MPLS network. That was the differentiator at the time. And then Alcatel acquired, and then from that day it has gone like from nowhere to almost now we are number one worldwide, on the edge routing side. So Alcatel-Lucent and Nokia. And then of course the good thing is we have our own silicon. I think this is one of the big differentiator. FlexiPath FP1, our network processor, started with FP1, FP2, FP3, FP4, and the latest one is FP5. And this network processor is one of the really not only the network processor, but the combination of the network processor, hardware and software. By combining all these, we can bring out a lot of unique, innovative things in our portfolio. And that is why we are very successful in this area. So this is just a kind of slide which shows, and this is not like what I'm talking about. This is a Dell ORG report, a public report, which you guys can go and look at it. So Nokia is number one in global edge routing worldwide. So like, as I said, from 2000, we are nowhere. And now in 2023, number one in global edge routing. And we have a complete portfolio, right? Starting from access to aggregation to edge to peering router to the core router, based on both, the merchant silicon as well as our own silicon, which I talked about, like FP FlexiPath silicon. So based on this, so these routing gear can be deployed like in different layers. And then on top of that, like security, this is again a solution which is like a combination of hardware and software in this. We call it our D-Field DDoS security solution. So there are two things in this, like D-Field Defender, which take care of your all the analytics and all your the detection of the DDoS. And then we have D-Field Genome, which kind of like crawling the internet and then knows everything about the internet, about different sources, your DNS and other things, right? And then this is like line rate DDoS. You can real time you can detect and you can take action what you want to do, right? So some of these solutions we are deploying in the research and education network, like in US, ESNet, Department of Energy. They're deploying these, our routing gear as well as our DDoS solution. Okay, some of the customer success story. So I'll start with just ESNet, Department of Energy. So this is a recent win. We are deploying our routing gear, 750 SRS. And then not only like we talk about 100 gig ports and 400 gig, but our platform can go up to 800 gig. And that's what we see the demand coming from, not 400 gig, but 800 gig kind of platform they are looking at it, right? Then we have Canary. This is like Canadian research education network. And then again, the IP MPLS network, we're deploying there based on Nokia 750 SRS. 100 gig to 400 gig WAN services, layer 2, layer 3 VPNs. And then, of course, the network automation I talked about. And then the next is Geon. This is the European. I think most of you know that. So this is the latest win which we have in the Europe. We'll be connecting all the research and education network in Europe, more than 25, 30 countries, and I think more than hundreds of these universities and colleges in Europe. Right. So again, there will be we'll deploying Samsung 50 SR platform. And then this will be the first research and education network which will be deploying 800 gigapods. Okay, and then of course all the normal layer 2, layer 3 VPN services. So let me just show you one small video on the Geon, so that you know what we are talking about here. I don't know if there is audio or not on this. Can you switch on the audio? Yeah, this one. The audio or my laptop audio, anything.
Else you have to connect from Zoom and we can share. That is the solution.
If you like some inspiration, we've got it in waves, and we'd like to share some with you. So come find us where the river meets the sea, where the innocent meets the...
Speaking of Christy, we are excited to have her back today. Christy, how are you doing today?
So GEA is the European Association of National Research and Education Networks. The networks that are in a country taking care of all the academic institutions, research facilities, and that kind of facilities. And we are the European version of that. My role at GEA is the Chief Networks Operations Officer. Basically, everything network ought to come my way at some point. So the key services are basically we do a standard but high quality IP service, high capacity, high availability, so that everyone can do what they need to do and be sure that our network is always there. On top of that, we do more advanced connectivity services, multicast, long distance, direct connections, but it's basically being able to provide all the capacity that we need and to do that reliably. That's, I think, the core of what we do. So we have been with our current supplier for about 12 years. That has been a long and fruitful relationship, but we needed to renew the network completely. And at some point you basically go out on the market and you look for who's going to be the best partner for the next few years, because we do need to be able to get to the next stage of capacity and capabilities. And I think that's where we went out for a European procurement. We did a competitive effort. And I think we landed with these two parties, Nomios and Nokia, and I think they will be there to help us with providing probably 800 gigs and beyond at a European scale, and that's what we do need. The networks just keep growing in capacity, and we can't stop and just think we're good now. We need to move on and evolve.
So Nomios is a networking and cybersecurity company. We are based in several countries in Europe, and we have a lot of customers in the telco, enterprise, and in the
With this, let me just conclude my slide. So like I said, on the entrance side, whether it's IP or the optics or the network automation, we have the complete solution. And then, like in US, in Canada, in Europe, and then in Asia Pac region also, we are talking multiple research and education networks. So Nokia is a partner whom you can rely on, and then we would be happy to engage with you guys. If there is any, you are coming out with a RFP or anything, and you want to understand our solution in detail, please feel free to get in touch with us. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Satish, for the Sorry about that. Thank you very much, Mrs. Satish, for the valuable information. So next we have Sorry for the inconvenience. So next we have Mr. Chatura Edrisoria from Cisco. So Mr. Chatura has been in the industry for more than 18 years, and he has been with Cisco for 9 years. He looks into the Sri Lanka and Maldives territories. So I would like to call upon Mr. Chatura to share his words.
that if you have application. We are very serious on that as well. This is all about augmented reality, virtual reality as well. There are many modules as well in this, especially on the virtual reality. You can create that atmosphere, whether you are connecting locally on-prem. When you wear that headset, you can make that atmosphere like you are sitting in the same environment. Example like that, if you want to research on a jungle or maybe forest, okay, we can make that same feeling to you. Especially on the banking also, they are using that. We call it virtual banking, using virtual reality. They are doing that as well. The third one is utility. Maybe this is, as a consumer citizen, it won't directly impact you, but indirectly it will impact you. We are doing smart power grid, automation on some of the substations. We are doing that as well. What power grid? What is the benefit of that? Inside a power grid, there are many systems running, especially on the CASA system, using different protocols. What we are doing is we are converting all the protocols into IP and send to a central location. Currently, what as manual process, they can't see if there's a power leakage or anything, they can't see that. But when it's come to the automation, once they do the automation, they can see those power leakages as well. And agriculture as well. There are several modules in that. Recently, we have done one use case. Farmer don't want to go to the paddy field. Looking at the app, they can see the water level of that paddy field, soil texture, wind speed, everything. The government also connect with the farmer, and especially on the agriculture ministry or any other ministry, they can give the inputs to the farmer, whether you want to increase the water level you want to put fertilizers. So that information you can feed to the end user or the farmer. Based on those advice, he can increase the water level or he can put the fertilizers, he can do that. But last not least, we are into the transportation as well. We have done some automation around the world. Recently, we have done a big project in Bangalore airport. We have automated all the project. Unfortunately, there's a video we cannot roll out due to some technical difficulty. What we are doing is from the air side and the land side, both we have done automation. Sometimes it's very difficult for them to track devices. What we have done is using IoT, we have done that automation. Top of everything, you need to have a proper architecture. Cisco in all the areas. When it's come to the LAN, WAN, data center, we are there. Our software-defined story across WAN, LAN, and WAN. We are one of the true SD-WAN player in the market. As a user, we can roll out privileges across your network, whether you are sits on the data center, whether you are sits on WAN, whether you are sits on LAN. As well as I told you, it's all about experience, customer experience. If you don't have the experience, customer won't stick with you. So I'll give you one example. One user, bank user, trying to log into their app, banking app. First time he's trying, the second time he's also trying, but he couldn't able to log in. As bank, what they can do, they can proactively monitor that and talk to that customer and say, hey customer, maybe they are your loyalty customer. We see that you are trying to log into our app twice, but you have failed. Can we help us? Same thing. That's why we are giving you the full visibility. Whether the workloads are in cloud, on-prem, we can give you end-to-end visibility. From application to the service provider to the data center, we can give you the visibility. Whether it's a SaaS application, example like that, if it's an Office O365 application, customer saying that my Office O365 application is slow. We can exactly pinpoint you whether it's related to his connectivity, whether it's related to a service provider, whether it's related to the SaaS application. End-to-end visibility we can give you. And top of that, security. When more devices are connecting, IoT devices are connecting, security is a bigger concern. As Cisco, we have a full stack to cater for that. Whether it's on cloud, on-prem, from the end user level, end-to-end, we have the capability to secure you. As a conclusion, because I have limited time, digital disruption is happening. You want to see whether it's happening today, tomorrow, day after tomorrow. The competition are totally different, I would say, right? The Uber, you haven't seen that, guys. Maybe someone who has a brilliant idea of developing that application, revolutionize entire taxi industry. Same thing happened to all the industries. The competition you are facing today, the same guys not in the future. As a conclusion, as Cisco, we can help you on the digital journey, and thank you very much. It's okay. I think we are facing a technical difficulty. That's fine. Thank you very much again.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chatura, for the valuable information. So we've got information from 4 big organizations. So it's time for questions now. You can raise if you have any questions. Seems like everything is clear. Yeah.
Actually, this is not a question. So I'm a lecturer in Sri Lankan University or Velasa University. So I saw several interesting projects you are getting involved in. So is there a space to university students to collaborate with that projects or any other suggestions from your end for our students, undergraduates?
Yes, actually, that project which I showed is a TM forum projects which companies get together and solve industry issues. But in SLT, we have a research and development lab. We can collaborate with universities, of course. Currently, we are collaborate with Kelaniya University, and we have some collaboration with QUT in Australia as well. So yes, we can discuss how we can collaborate with you. I can channel you to I can get the contact and I will arrange it. Yeah, sure.
Yes, we are normally we are doing some research in university. Now currently we are doing some research on the agriculture field. I need to get some idea about the Cisco company said that they are doing some research on the agriculture. What type of research you are doing and how we can collaborate with your research and
Not we have research, we have already deployed actually. So we have a separate team called Digital Transformation Office, which take care of all the digitization project. What I can do is I can connect with you, so you can coordinate with them.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah,
Okay.
sure, sure.
Thank you. So to conclude, we have a few gifts for our presenters. I would like to call upon our professor, Professor Roshan, to give away the gifts of appreciation. Can I have Ms. Dinusha? Mr. Jayashankar? Mr. Satish? Mr. Chatura? Thank you, sir. So let's conclude the session. Thank you very much for your participation. Have a great day.